The question has lingered in the air for what feels like forever now. Will Kody and Robyn actually bring in a new sister wife? Is this real or just another layer of manufactured drama? The conversation keeps circling back, episode after episode, leaving viewers wondering what's really going on behind the carefully edited scenes. Mykelti, Kody's daughter with Christine, offered her perspective while watching the latest Sister Wives episode on her Patreon, and what she revealed painted a picture far more complex than anyone might have expected. This isn't just about creating juicy storylines for television ratings. There's something genuinely fractured happening between Kody and Robyn, something that runs deeper than scripted conflict. Reality television thrives on drama. That's the nature of the beast. And what could be more dramatic than the possibility of adding another wife to an already complicated family dynamic? It's the kind of storyline that keeps people talking, keeps the show trending, keeps viewers coming back week after week. But according to Mykelti's honest assessment, there is a legitimate rift growing between Kody and Robyn, a crack in their marriage that neither seems willing or able to repair. The heartbreaking truth she revealed is that they both want fundamentally different things from this relationship, and neither is willing to compromise or meet the other halfway. Kody has apparently made his position crystal clear. He's finished with polygamy, done with the concept of plural marriage, completely over the idea of bringing another wife into his life. He stated this repeatedly, but the way he goes about enforcing this decision, demanding that Robyn abandon her dreams, insisting she conform to his vision of their future, only widens the chasm between them. For Kody, this isn't simply about making a personal choice. It's about maintaining control, about ensuring Robyn bends to his will and accepts the future he's decided upon. The problem is that Robyn doesn't share that vision. She finds herself caught in a confusing, contradictory space, torn between what her heart truly desires and the expectations Kody has imposed upon her. Tony, Mykelti's husband, isn't entirely convinced that Kody has really closed the door on polygamy for good. He remains skeptical, uncertain whether this is truly the end or just Kody saying what he thinks sounds right in the moment. But there's one thing both Mykelti and Tony seem to agree on. Robyn doesn't appear ready to let go of the polygamous lifestyle, despite everything. It's strange when considering her own family history. Robyn's mother's relationship with her sister wife was far from harmonious. It was messy, complicated, fraught with tension. Yet, despite witnessing that reality firsthand, Robyn still seems drawn to the concept of polygamy as though it's embedded in her DNA, something she simply cannot shake loose from her identity. What makes the situation even more puzzling is that Robyn isn't actively participating in the church anymore. If polygamy represented such a deeply held religious conviction for her, why didn't she leave Kody when all the other wives did? Why didn't she return to the church and find someone there who could offer her the polygamous life she claims to still yearn for? The fact that she didn't take that path suggests something more complicated is at play, something unspoken and difficult to articulate. Robyn appears genuinely conflicted, caught between the life she once imagined for herself and the reality she's currently living. In Kody's heart, he believes Robyn is his soulmate, his perfect match. But as time continues to pass, it's becoming increasingly apparent that Robyn is still clinging to a different dream, the dream of living in a successful plural marriage, of having that sister-wife relationship she always envisioned for herself. It's not the reality she's experiencing now, but it's a vision that continues to pull at her, drawing her attention away from what she actually has. Robyn's soul feels tethered to that idealized concept, even though she's living in a marriage that doesn't quite fit the mold she once created in her imagination. It's almost as if she's in denial, pretending that life with Kody alone is enough, while secretly longing for something more expansive, something both she and Kody might not be ready to fully embrace or acknowledge. In the end, it plays out like a tragic tug of war. Kody believes he's found his soulmate in Robyn, But what if she's still dreaming of a life that was never meant to materialize? It's the kind of heartbreaking tension that keeps this storyline alive, breathing, evolving episode after episode, season after season. Robyn's dream feels almost impossible to reach, and no matter how hard Kody might try, he'll never be able to provide her with that specific vision of polygamy she holds in her mind. There's a fundamental disconnect between what Robyn imagined for her life and the reality she's now navigating, a gap that may never be bridged. For her, there's this persistent yearning for something that keeps slipping further away with each passing day. And within that struggle, she'll eventually have to face the painful process of letting that dream die and accepting what she actually has. That's the truly heartbreaking elements of their situation. Because despite all the friction and fundamental disagreements, Kody and Robyn genuinely do share something special. There's real affection between them, a connection that's undeniable. Sure, their dynamic can be awkward at times, but there's something authentically beautiful when they're together. Anyone watching can see they genuinely like each other, that they have strong feelings for one another. It's devastatingly sad that Robyn can't fully appreciate what they have for exactly what it is. She's trapped in this mindset of thinking about her unfulfilled dream, while Kody is standing there offering her something real, something tangible. And yet she continues chasing something more elusive, more idealized. It's baffling because despite all the genuine beauty in their relationship, Robyn still longs for a version of polygamy that she's constructed entirely in her imagination. She envisions this perfect, idealistic sister-wife dynamic where everyone shares the husband in complete harmony, where everything flows smoothly without jealousies or conflict. But what is it about that particular dream that maintains such a powerful grip on her? It's difficult for most people to understand, especially considering her family's actual experience. Robyn grew up with two mothers who don't really get along. They coexist, they manage, but their relationship isn't the model of harmony she's dreaming for herself. In reality, it mirrors her own experience with Kody, where the tension between what she desires and what actually exists refuses to reconcile. This is where Tony's perspective becomes particularly interesting. He's identified something crucial. There's a part of Robyn that genuinely craves this polygynous lifestyle. It goes beyond just sharing a husband. It's rooted in the promise, the deeply held belief in an afterlife that rewards those who endure hardship here on earth. It's about receiving eternal blessings in heaven for every ounce of suffering experienced in this life. That's the foundational principle of polygamy as she understands it. Even though Robyn might not actually want to share Kody and struggles intensely with jealousy, she's been conditioned to believe that this suffering will lead her to eternal reward. But here's where reality becomes harsh. Living in polygamy isn't remotely easy. It's saturated with problems, tension, emotional strain, and constant navigation of complex relationships. The promise of heavenly rewards doesn't make the day-to-day challenges any easier to bear. The church's teachings encourage members to endure, to push through the pain with the assurance that eventually the payoff will come. And that's where Kody's question to Robyn cuts so deeply. Are they truly just enduring this relationship, or do they actually get along naturally? Are they simply coasting along, getting through it for the sake of getting through it? Or do they have something genuinely real and meaningful here? Robyn, in her heart, believes they have something special. But what does that special actually mean to her? It's not purely about love. It's not even necessarily about Kody as an individual. Her concept of something special is fundamentally about being a successful polygamist. She wanted the fame, the wealth, the public visibility that came with being in a televised polygamous family. She wanted to demonstrate to the world, and especially to her friends who are struggling in difficult polygamous relationships, that it's possible to rise above it all, that people can become the king and queen of polygamy, living the dream life everyone talks about. That was her true vision, and for achieving that goal, she chose Kody. not necessarily because he was her destined soulmate, but because he represented the vehicle to that dream. Kody could provide what she wanted most: the spotlight, the status, the financial security. Kody, however, has his own perspective on Robyn. For him, she represents more than just a wife. She's a trophy, a symbol of everything he desires. She's the diesel jeans model, the physical embodiment of the lifestyle he wants to project. And the constant references to the fact that Robyn had other suitors, that multiple men proposed to her, reveals volumes about their dynamic. Kody didn't just win her over with love alone. He was the one she ultimately chose, and he's acutely aware of that fact. Robyn could have had numerous options within the church, yet she selected him. Why? Because she believed in what he could offer. And that's precisely where the deepest tension resides. Robyn thought she was getting exactly what she wanted, but now that things aren't unfolding according to her vision, she's confronting the harsh reality that in this marriage, Kody ultimately calls the shots. What she's discovering now is that with Kody, there's no room for simply pushing him around and having everything go her way. She's learning that in their relationship, compromise isn't optional. It's absolutely mandatory. This ongoing conflict between them isn't really about polygamy versus monogamy at its core. It's about Robyn realizing that despite all her dreams, wishes, and carefully constructed visions for her life, the person she's chosen to be with doesn't grant her the control she once assumed she would have. Kody refuses to bend to her desires, and she's learning the difficult lesson that in this partnership, it's not about her getting everything she wants. It's about learning to navigate life with someone who remains firm in his own vision of what their shared future should look like. Mykelti has expressed a strong intuition that if things continue on their current trajectory, Kody and Robyn may not remain together long term. She doesn't believe Robyn can truly let go of her desire for polygamy, and if Kody refuses to bring in another wife, she fears it could ultimately break them apart. Mykelti points to something that's been mentioned by several people, including Robyn herself: this idea of a spiritual calling, almost a divination, suggesting that polygamy is what they were meant to live. It transcends being merely a lifestyle choice. It's a deeply held belief that they're supposed to follow this specific path in order to receive eternal blessings. Mykelti believes that part of Robyn's struggle stems from her deeply rooted conviction that if they don't live polygamy on earth, they'll be damned in the afterlife. She genuinely believes she has to die as a polygamist for it to be an essential part of her spiritual destiny. But Mykelti disagrees with the idea that if Robyn pushed hard enough and demanded it, Kody would eventually bring in another sister wife. She doesn't think that would happen at all. If Robyn issued Kody an ultimatum threatening to end their relationship if he didn't add another wife, Mykelti believes Kody would simply walk away from the entire marriage. It's not just about the relationship itself. It's about respect. And for Kody, that means obedience above everything else. He's made it abundantly clear time and time again that he's finished with polygamy. And if Robyn continues pushing him to go against that firmly stated decision, he would interpret it as a fundamental lack of respect. It's a line he's unwilling to cross under any circumstances. Mykelti actually agrees with this assessment completely. She believes that if Robyn keeps pushing and pushing for what she wants, and if Kody stands absolutely firm in his decision, Robyn's efforts will only drive him further away. She acknowledges that Kody has changed his position before, so there's always the possibility he could reverse course again. But if he's truly committed to not bringing in another wife, and Robyn continues applying pressure, it could lead directly to the end of their relationship. This isn't simply about wanting a new wife added to the family. It's fundamentally about power, dynamics, and control. Christine, in her own reflections about the family, mentioned that to get anything from Kody, a woman has to bend completely to his will. If a partner doesn't give Kody exactly what he wants, serious trouble inevitably follows. For Robyn, she understands she has to cater to Kody's desires in order to get her own needs met. But she's also learned to use manipulation as a tool to get her way. It's a delicate, precarious balance, and Robyn knows she has to walk on eggshells around him constantly. If she disobeys him or challenges him too directly, his affection can be withdrawn instantly, leaving her emotionally vulnerable and isolated. However, the power balance between them has fundamentally shifted. Kody no longer possesses the leverage he once wielded. He can't threaten Robyn with bringing in another wife because there simply isn't anyone else in his life. His only remaining options now are to make threats of infidelity or to threaten to leave her entirely. But Mykelti doesn't believe Kody will actually leave Robyn unless there's someone else already lined up. Someone younger, someone possessing the qualities that once made Robyn so appealing to him when they first met. Mykelti raises a fascinating question, though. What happens when Robyn is no longer the diesel jeans model she once was? What happens when she's no longer the younger, more conventionally attractive wife? Does she still want polygamy? When she's no longer the trophy wife, when she's facing the inevitable reality of aging and losing that elevated status? Does she genuinely still want plural marriage? Or was it always just an idealized fantasy that served her purposes at a specific time in her life? The tension between them is absolutely undeniable. Kody, for his part, is actively trying to manipulate Robyn into accepting the life he wants for them. But Mykelti believes this stems from his own deep frustration. When he separated from the other wives, Kody admitted that he was exhausted from living polygamy just to keep Robyn happy. He confessed that he had to maintain those other relationships alive because Robyn wouldn't stay with him unless he did. It was an enormous sacrifice for him, one that ultimately left him feeling completely burned out and resentful. Now that Robyn no longer has that particular leverage over him, the only thing remaining in her arsenal is an ultimatum. Either you give me what I want or I'm leaving you. And if Robyn pushes that boundary too hard, Mykelti believes it could represent the breaking point. Kody might not be capable of giving in to her dream. And without that possibility, their entire relationship could collapse completely. In the end, it's an incredibly tangled web of love, manipulation, unmet desires, and conflicting visions for the future. Whether or not they can find a way to make it work will depend entirely on how much they're both willing to bend or how willing they are to break entirely. Robyn's internal struggle is painfully real, and it's evident she's not willing to let go of her dream, regardless of how dramatically things are shifting around her. Even at the end of the most recent episode, she told Kody that she could accept monogamy. But in her private talking head interview, she hesitated, clearly unsure about everything. She admitted she doesn't know, that she's really not sure yet, that she genuinely doesn't know how any of this is going to unfold. And this is where things become particularly complicated. Tony believes that Kody might eventually cave and bring in another wife just to keep Robyn happy, but that strategy could easily backfire spectacularly. Kody seems willing to go to considerable lengths to keep Robyn in his life, but Mykelti disagrees, believing that Kody's commitment is far more limited than it appears on the surface. He might promise the world in heated moments, but when actual pressure arrives, his promises might not hold up under scrutiny. Now, if another woman were suddenly available, young, beautiful, and ready to join the family, would Kody truly be able to resist that temptation? Mykelti raises a compelling point. Kody might not be capable of walking away from that opportunity. If the potential new wife were 10 years younger than Robyn and strikingly gorgeous, Kody might find it nearly impossible to say no. But here's the crucial context right now. Kody and Robyn are living an extremely lavish lifestyle. They own a $2.1 million home in Flagstaff, a sprawling 5,500 square foot house, plus an additional 2,000 square foot guest house. They're living comfortably with absolutely no visible signs of their relationship crumbling. Kody has been doing press appearances for special forces, and Robyn has been right there beside him throughout. There's nothing publicly suggesting they aren't still very much together, which only reinforces the theory that this could all be an elaborate storyline, a carefully crafted narrative designed specifically for the show's continued success. But it's also abundantly clear that Kody's primary strategy for keeping Robyn engaged is to periodically dangle the possibility of bringing in new women. He might bring up the topic occasionally, just enough to keep the illusion alive and prevent Robyn from completely giving up hope. By keeping the possibility of polygamy theoretically on the table, he's able to manipulate Robyn into staying invested in their relationship. The fundamental problem is that Robyn no longer possesses the control she once held. She's trapped in a position where she either has to accept her current reality with Kody or make the extremely difficult decision to leave. And if she truly believed in the values she claims to hold so deeply, she wouldn't be with him at all. Kody has left the church, and by choosing to stay with him, Robyn risks losing her standing within that community. The church doesn't approve of Kody anymore, and by selecting him as her partner, Robyn is aligning herself with a man who's viewed as a failure by the very institution she's supposedly trying to please and remain connected to. In theory, she claims to hold on to her polygamous beliefs because of her family and what she was taught growing up. But in practice, her actions don't match up with those stated beliefs. Robyn now finds herself in a situation where she has the man she thought she wanted, but not the life she envisioned, not the elevated status, not the position of being at the top as the queen bee of a successful polygamous family. So will Kody and Robyn stay together forever? It doesn't seem particularly likely. McKelty predicts that once the money from the show dries up and her children are old enough to be independent, Robyn will leave him. The real reason she hasn't left yet, though, is because she's uncertain whether she'll find another wealthy man who can provide the lifestyle she's become accustomed to. If she returns to polygamy within the church community, she'd likely be stepping into a life of relative poverty, struggling to make ends meet. Robyn wants to create her own kingdom with Kody, a life filled with comfort and financial security. And if she can't force him into playing the role she desires, she might end up with nothing that resembles what she wants. That's precisely why Kody keeps showering her with expensive gifts, buying her beautiful homes, and providing the luxurious lifestyle she's grown comfortable with. He understands exactly what matters to her. And as long as he can keep her living in this lavish manner, she'll likely stick around despite their fundamental disagreements. But there's something more beneath the surface. McKelty suggests that Kody will never find the kind of relationship he claims to be searching for, because at his core, he's not actually a good man. He doesn't truly care about genuine love in the way most people understand it. Kody says he wants Robyn to love him, but the brutal truth is that if she were to disobey him or challenge his authority, he'd cast her aside without hesitation or remorse. As for whether they'll eventually divorce, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. But what happens after that potential split? What would the show even become without their central conflict? Robyn, according to some behind-the-scenes whispers, has been seriously contemplating leaving him. She feels trapped, especially because of the children and the complicated family dynamics. It's an incredibly complicated situation, one that's teetering precariously on the edge of a collapse. And it's crystal clear that no matter what ultimately happens, the tension in this relationship is far from being resolved. Could they actually create a spin-off featuring the ex-wives and Robyn if she chose to leave Kody and completely cut ties with him? Is that the underlying plan? Something that could have materialized already, but hasn't because Robyn doesn't feel financially secure enough to make that enormous leap. It honestly feels like they're balanced on the brink of something major, something that could fundamentally change the entire show. Kody's increasingly erratic behavior, combined with Robyn's own internal struggles, it's like watching two people slowly turning on each other, and it's difficult not to sense that their relationship is heading toward an inevitable implosion. The unfolding drama continues to captivate, leaving viewers wondering what will finally push the situation over the edge and whether either of them will ultimately find what they're truly searching for.